and welcome to another Aussie Pomcast here in Perth. And first of all, if you'd like to support us, make sure you hit subscribe below so you can see more of us next week. Anyway, into this week, we've got a massive one, starting with the politics. Leaders debate, very serious, but we will try and surmise this for you for anybody not following it. So this is the leaders debate. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Sorry,
Are you exhausted at the thought of it?
A little bit. I just find it a little bit weird. It's all very like American leader debate kind of stuff, but not forgetting the fact that they're both of this in the same party, so it's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm not really used to seeing.
Like, I love you, but also down with you.
Yeah, exactly. I know we're going to have to work together after this, but you're a knob, like that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a bit weird. So yeah, basically, this was the first debate that they've had. It was on BBC, and basically, they both position themselves in what they think are the right moves forward on the economy, on Brexit, on that kind of stuff.
And if you're listening on the pod, it's Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss.
Yes, thank you.
We're looking at on our screen over here.
Yeah, and they just talk over each other and shout at each other and look at each other in a funny way, and that's kind of he mansplains, she shouts.
But the interesting part about all of this, I mean, forget the talk about taxes, forget the stuff that affects real people.
Yeah.
It's earrings gate.
What?
We need to talk about the earrings. So she's copped it actually over wearing £4.50 Claire's accessories earrings.
From who?
Copped
it from who?
Meanwhile, he's worn, get this, I think this is even worse than what people are saying it is, he's wearing a suit that's worth nearly £3,000.
Yeah.
And it sparked a lot of debate. She was even asked about it in one of the debates. Mm-hmm. And all she had to say, she's quite diplomatic, of course she was. She probably rehearsed a response, I'm sure. But she did say that, I think he's a very well-dressed man. I support his right to wear whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. I think it's quite interesting because who would you support if you had only that information? Who would you support? The one that's going cheaper on the earrings or the one wearing a $3,000 suit?
I mean,
I think this is an important debate to have.
Yeah, but it doesn't say anything to me about either of them. I don't care either way.
Cost of living crisis.
Yeah,
Someone
I know.
spending $3,000, that's $6,000 on a suit.
I know, but.
Do you have a $6,000 suit?
No, you know I don't.
Exactly.
What a stupid question. No, but but everybody who knows anything about either of them knows that he's from a very, very wealthy family.
It's probably like the equivalent of 10 pence to him, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's just like that's where he's come from, and that's where he is now, and his wife is non-domicile for tax purposes, and she's a multi-billionaire.
Just don't show off about it, though.
No, I'm not.
Wear Matalan.
I know, but he might not wear Matalan.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect if he turned up in Matalan.
I know, but then he would get criticised much harder for trying to be something that he isn't, I think.
Wearing Stratalan.
For wearing Stratalan, yeah. But as in, it would look a lot weirder if someone that you know all of that information about then tries to pretend that there's something that they're not. He would just get equally criticised for that, right?
Do you think she's doing it with the 450 earrings? Because,
Well, that's deliberate as well.
That's like $10.
That's deliberate as well, because she knows that people at certain publications will work out exactly what she's wearing and where she's got it from, and that it's £4.50.
Daily Mail.
No, but as in, that is kind of what some publications do, right? And so she knows that. She's not.
It's a bit unfair, though, isn't it, really, as well, to target her over a 450 earrings? And
well, the same paper targeted him over his $3,000 suit.
I don't know. I just feel a bit icky that there's the irony in this. I brought up this for subject to discussion, but I do find it a little bit icky.
So what you do is ignore both of those things. Ignore his suit and ignore her earrings, and listen to what they actually say.
Debate.
I know,
about a 450 earrings.
Well, we should just talk about their policies. They should just talk about what they envisage for the future of the party and for the future of the country. I don't care what they're wearing.
They are trying to send messages out, though. I do wonder whether it's working or not. But there we go.
Well, I mean, the weirdest thing about all of this is that they're only actually appealing to 200,000 people in the country anyway. It's not like everybody's going to the polls and electing who they want. It's members of the Tory party, of which there's only 200,000, and 97% of them are retired men or something stupid.
It's very weird for a debate, isn't it, to be to be broadcast exactly. This, because we actually have zero say.
Yeah, we don't have any say in it.
Yeah, but there we go. Speaking about others that we have zero say over.
Oh, you have a lot of say over them. Yeah.
The royals, here we are, Harry and Meghan, once again in the news. So, first of all, let's talk about Harry's book. Now, we've discussed this before, the whole hoo-ha over when it's going to be published. This is a ghost-written book that's set to blow apart the royal family. So we're set to hear about all the men in grey suits. We're set to hear about all the fallout from Megxit. we've got high hopes for this book, and I tell you what, I'm clearing my diary for the end of the year. 'Cause I am ready. I am ready to read this.
Yeah, but it's going to be stuff that you've already read. It's going to be really watered down. It's not going to be.
Don't ruin it.
I'm sorry, but that's.
I've got high hopes.
He's not going to come out and ruin the royal family, is he? He's not going to come out
not?
and say who the person
They've
is
done
that
it-
was allegedly racist about the
I don't know.
That's going to happen.
They've got to give us something.
They've got to
They've got to give us something.
They don't owe you anything, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, however, there's talk that this book's release date could clash with Michelle Obama's. Now, as you know, these two are very pally-pally with the Obamas, or so we're led to believe. And quite interesting that, they would choose well, let's face it, she's a massive name. That book's going to sell out. It's going to fly off the shelves. Yeah. It's going to be on all the most read lists. And, she's releasing it at the same time. So probably a bit of a blunder, really. If you're going to release your book, you don't release it on the same day as your best mate.
Well,
and
let me shock
better
you.
than you.
Let me shock you. Publicity stunt. It's the same publishing house that is releasing both books. And all of a sudden they're coming out saying, "Oh, we might release them at the same date." No, you're not.
I don't
There's
know.
absolutely no way they're going to release them at the same date. Why?
These are people with privilege. Maybe they'll just stamp the feet and go, "Nah, I need it on this date." She can budge.
But why? It doesn't make any sense. They would just go, "Why don't we have 2 New York bestsellers at different times?" Rather than go, "Let's get our 2 best books and get them to compete with each other so that they both lose a little bit."
Do them at the same time.
Mad. Of course, it's not going to happen.
Who would you rather read? I think I know the answer to this one, but
Michelle Obama's. Yeah.
Are you read Barack's yet?
I've read half of it.
It's ridiculously long.
It's a big
only
old book.
volume
Yeah,
1.
it's a
They
big
like
old
to
book.
clack on. I tell you what, they're not good at self-editing, put it that way. Apparently the audiobook for Barack Obama's first edition is 40 hours or something ridiculous. You could listen to that all week, basically. So yeah, look, that's the book. Also, let's talk about the other end of the roll, is that the bit that we like the most, Kate and Will.
Speak for
We love
yourself.
these
Yeah,
two. We love these two. Now, there's been a bit of a hoo-ha, as we know, over did Meghan make Kate cry or not?
I don't even remember this.
This was brought up in the Oprah interview.
Yeah.
So, for the record, a bit background. So, there'd been talk and rumour about Kate being made to cry over the royal wedding between Harry and Meghan. It was over a bridesmaid frock, apparently, and we were led to believe that Meghan had been such a diva that Kate had a bit of a cry.
Yeah.
Basically, Meghan turned around and said, actually, the opposite happened, but, I think Kate's great. Anyway, now a new royal author has come out and said, actually, no, Meghan did make Kate cry, and it wasn't over wearing tights, because apparently that's what the initial argument was about, whether Charlotte was wearing tights to fit with royal protocol. It was about a hemline.
Yeah.
So we're getting all het up about hemlines and
You
all
are.
sorts.
I mean, this is about 4 years old now, isn't it? We're still talking about whether or not one of
I
them
think
made
it's
it to the
important.
cry
Who
over a
made who cry?
hemline.
People care about this.
You don't know any of the circumstances leading up to it. It could have been anything else that triggered something, and then something was said, and it just
Weddings
was the last straw.
A lot of emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot going on and a lot to unpack. However, people do have lives, so we will move on.
If we keep talking about it, I'll be the next one to cry. So,
speaking of people who had a bit of a cry, check this out. So this is one of the Queen's guards who clearly having a bad day at work. He's on a horse outside the palace, and people have done what they do best and taken selfies with him. Mm-hmm. One woman is seen on TikTok, and she's leant up against the horse, as if it's just a nothing, just to have a little lean here. And she's had a bit of a lean up against the horse, and the horse has started to go, "Ooh, don't like this very much." He has blasted her, absolutely blasted her, this guard, had a right go at her, and it's all been caught on camera for our enjoyment.
yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. And also imagine being the person behind that and thinking that everyone's going to sympathise with you. Don't touch the horse. There are signs all over the place saying, "Do not touch the horse."
It's not a prop.
No,
It's
exactly.
not a prop.
It's not.
The best thing is, she said, we vowed never to visit
I'm
London
never going again.
Not coming here ever again. Total angry people in
As
local
if-
newspapers, isn't it?
As if London is just full of these horses causing chaos.
yeah.
I'm not
Look at
coming
the
to
horse.
London again. All these horses that I can't touch. Nightmare.
People. So, unfortunately, now she'll need to have a few quid if she's going to go to Spain instead, however. Because to go to Spain right now, you need to be able to prove that you can shell out €100 a day to spend
About
there.
£85, right?
Yeah, 85 quid. And you also need to prove that you have €900 in the bank to go home with, return flight, all
and
the rest of it.
accommodation booked.
Very similar to how it is coming to Australia.
Very similar to going anywhere from the UK that isn't in the EU, basically. So it's kind of a lot of it's a bit of it's
a
weird.
Deal, though.
Yeah, of course it
deal.
is, because obviously we know how many people from England go over to Spain, and it's like our favourite place to go every year.
It's a cheap holiday.
It's a cheap holiday.
It's an hour and a half, 2 hours on a plane. Easy. Go for a weekend.
But if you were to ever have gone anywhere outside of the EU, you always have to prove that you've got funds to sustain your trip. You've always got to prove that it's not really that enforceable. No one's ever going, show me all your bank statements. It's not like you've got to take a little carry-on with all your bank statements.
I don't know. Have
for the
you
last
seen
3
Border
years.
Security? I've watched Border Security. And they sometimes do ask for proof of your return flight if they're you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, I can imagine lots of people just getting a one-way flight to places like Spain, not realising that they can't just pack up and leave and stay there forever.
People do, though. We've covered stories on here before where people have jumped on a plane after a night out and ended up in Spain. However, you're going to need the equivalent of 85 quid a day to be able to travel to Spain now. Well, everybody is absolutely fuming. And I think, you know what, fair enough, but I also think it's pretty understandable that people are a bit jacked off about this, because it's a cheap holiday. There's not much you can get for cheap anymore in the UK, and to be able to go to Benidorm for a cheap holiday, right, I think it's seen as a rite of passage, especially in the north, right? And I know you go to fancy places like the Cotswolds down your end,
I've never been to the Cotswolds.
I know you go to Devon or wherever you go,
okay,
right?
Cool.
But there's something to be said for a cheap 200 quid trip to Benidorm.
Yeah.
In
I'm not debating that, but the only reason you've got to prove that you've got $85 per day to get back, right, is say you're going for 1 week, so 5 days, you need 400 quid in your bank account. It's not that mad to ask that someone just have 400 quid in their account when they go on holiday, right? Just in the event that your flight gets cancelled or you have to stay for an extra week because some sort of unknown event happens. COVID, exactly. So it's just so that you can say, I can afford to stay here in the event that some sort of unforeseen circumstance happens. It's not really that bad, is it?
Well, some of the comments are saying, look, they're not going to get the tourists from us now.
Of course
they
will.
I think they will.
Of course they will. Also,
it's still going to be cheap, isn't it?
It's the £85 a day, right? It's not like I've spent 80 quid a day and someone's coming around at 11 o'clock going, you got to buy a couple of beers. You haven't spent your full allocation today.
You're going to Benidorm, you still have money left over.
All right, okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, one place you might want to spend your money is the Co-op, but you're probably not going to be too happy because you may be getting filmed there. And this has sparked a bit of a legal challenge, similar to what we've seen.
Yeah.
With a bit of outrage over here about Bunnings, which is like being
Good Guys, Bunnings, yeah.
Yeah, facial recognition technology when you go into these stores, and they're saying it's security, but also there's a privacy argument as well in there as well. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, without sounding like I'm just in a bad mood today,
You are in a bad mood today. You're totally
everything.
shitted off today, aren't you?
No, but look, I think that privacy is important, and I think that we should be protecting that where we can, and we should be clear with any legislation about what they can and can't collect data on with stuff like this. But if you don't think that your data is being collected every minute of every day, every time you buy something or search something on the internet or look at something on social media, then you kind of need to reevaluate what you're doing.
We're not saying that Aussie Pomcast is, by the way.
Yeah, I know, we're not harvesting your data. Yeah, exactly.
But if you're using Facebook, if you're there, scrolling through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you're complaining about being filmed down the Co-op, give your head a wobble, because you're probably being tracked through them too.
A little bit. But also, it's no different to the only reason they're bringing these in, or the only reason they say they're bringing in, and I believe it personally, but it's just the protection of staff and to make sure that serial petty thieves or serial people that come in and abuse people are banned. Like, it's not really that big a deal, is it? Like, I think I've never stolen stuff from the supermarket down my road, so I'm not in trouble. I don't care if they collect my face.
Why are you worried?
Yeah.
Why are you worried? But the thing is, I mean, if some massive, I just want to know to what extent they're going to use this. So if we end up with another horrific, Maddie McCann situation or anything like that, would you be able to use it for that? See, I'd like them to use it for things like that.
I don't mind.
No, I don't. I'd like that, and I think people would be supportive of that. But I think people just don't like the idea that Big Brother effect.
Well, I'll give you an example, and it was here for people listening in England, but in Perth, we had the old QR codes that you used
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
in, that you had to check in every time you got a coffee or whatever during the height of the pandemic. And it turns out that they ended up using some of that data to try and find criminals. They weren't supposed to,
No.
but the police revealed that they had used it on a couple of occasions,
I
right?
think they got away with it as well from a PR point of view to an extent because it's bikies.
Well, yeah, but also I think fundamentally people were like, oh, okay. Like, as in it was serious offences. It was an assassination that they were trying to collect data on. It's not like they were collecting data on someone that was, collecting $100 extra a year in benefits payments. Like, it's not like they were using it for anything.
So that they can afford the trip to Benidorm.
Yeah, exactly. They've got the 85 quid a day that they need for one day in Benidorm. Look, I think it's a bit of a, I don't know. Every time I go into my local supermarket, I see pictures of people up on behind the till of who have been caught stealing. That they ask you to identify.
Says a lot about the neighbourhood you
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, this is in Devon.
Devon. On that note, will Devon be hosting Eurovision next year?
Oh, very good, very good.
Massive bidding war to get Eurovision. So as we all know, you should know if you've been listening to Aussie
As you
Pomcast.
all know,
because you're all Eurovision.
Yeah, please
like
explain
me.
the background.
So Ukraine won Eurovision. Well, for reasons, who knows, right? Everybody
What
knows.
do you mean?
Total
It was a good song,
sympathy vote.
right?
It was an
You
alright
said
song, but it was a total sympathy
for reasons
vote.
that
It was.
everybody knows.
Everybody
about.
knows it,
Okay.
right? Eurovision's not supposed to be political, totally is. UK came second. Their song was amazing, right? But they've come second, and they've said, well, we actually can't host Eurovision in a war zone. So Ukraine was supposed to host it as winner. They can't, so they've said, right, we'll let the UK do it. We'll give it a Ukrainian flavour instead.
What does that mean? I didn't see that.
Whatever that means.
Okay.
Absolutely
Blue and yellow everywhere.
We will see.
Yeah, okay.
We are yet to find out. But now it's been confirmed that the UK is going to host it on behalf of the Ukraine because you can't actually have it in Ukraine because,
Yeah, because
obvious
of the
reason.
war.
Yeah, the war.
Yeah.
Any road. This chap here, well done. He came second, and he's flying the flag now and saying, you know what, it's fantastic, we're getting it here. But it's a bidding war now for which city is going to be able to host it. Now, obvious is probably London, but I mean, there's a few other candidates in there as
Manchester?
well. Perhaps Manchester. I'd like to see it in the north. Wouldn't that be good?
Huddersfield.
I tell you what, if John Smith Stadium got it, I'd be straight back home. Birmingham, perhaps, Commonwealth Games, who knows? Maybe they could get the double whammy. This is all very exciting for Eurovision fans.
It's super exciting, isn't it?
It's massive. It has got a huge following as Eurovision, so don't shit can Eurovision. However, I will say to anybody that's hoping to get tickets, it is hard work. As somebody who's been to a Eurovision before, right?
Didn't you have to do like a daily quiz or something?
So you've got to join, and two ways you can get it. You can join the massive queues, and when I say queues, I mean you're going to be like 30,000 in this queue.
Sorry, physical queues, or are you talking like an online queue?
Queues.
Yeah,
God,
okay.
we don't do physical queuing anymore.
Okay,
Come on.
sorry.
Online queues.
Yeah.
You'll be on. You need to have 6 laptops in front of you, and you need to be on the internet for eternity.
Yeah.
Or you can join a fan group, and the fan groups get certain allocations of tickets. Each fan group around the world gets a certain allocation of tickets. So I'm in the Aussie group, and basically,
Is there any prerequisites of joining a fan group? Do you have to?
Oh, you got to pay.
You have to
a lot of
pay?
them you've got to pay like $30.
Right. Okay.
Right, membership, and you've got to start basically earning points over the course of that year. To be on the list, and the more points you get, the higher up the list you go, and the first, say, 200 will get a ticket.
Okay.
The chance to buy tickets. You don't get them for free, you've got to pay for them.
Yeah, right, okay.
And if somewhere like Israel, you're going to pay a fortune.
How do you gain points?
You gain your points by doing challenges. And these could be things like guess a song.
Right.
It could be like perform a Eurovision song on camera.
God.
Oh, it's all these naff challenges, right? I've done them all.
It's insane.
I did them all and missed out on tickets, right? It was brutal.
I don't know what that says
And I
about
still had
you.
to join the online queue.
And it cost you $30 in
And
membership.
it cost me $30. But it was the fun of it, I can say.
Yeah.
Or you
Sounds
can
great
join
fun.
a queue, but there are other options as well as a live show that you see on TV. There's the jury show, which is that's the one that's when you haven't watched Eurovision, have you? But there's a judges vote basically, and they do a special show just for the judges.
Okay.
And they also have a dress rehearsal you can pay to go and see as well. So they make a lot of money out of it. A
sounds
lot
like
of
it.
people follow Eurovision. I know you laugh, and I know everybody in the UK will be laughing, but I reckon that's everybody will want to go to that.
I just think, imagine spending a year trying to get some points to watch 25 NAF songs sung in the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield.
Anyway, John Smith Stadium more likely to be hosting the soccer as its championship starts this weekend.
Yeah.
But let's also discuss the EPL from the weekend. So we've had everybody came here. They all came.
I know.
Man United, Villa, Palace, and
Leeds.
your
favourite.
Leeds. Yep, we don't say swear words like that on here. Anyway, they're all here in Perth. It was fantastic to see. It absolutely threw it down though. It's so upsetting to see that we could not showcase some good Perth weather.
Yeah, but they felt at home, right?
So they brought the weather with them.
Yes, exactly.
Meanwhile, there's heat waves back home. But
yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
They brought the weather with them. I went to the Leeds game. We managed to. I sat in the Leeds end with my Huddersfield Town hat on. I didn't get beaten up. I didn't realise I was that close to the fan zone. I'm like, they're all there, like marching on together. It's a bit orcs.
But as I said to you outside of this, you see them in all their Leeds gear and you worry about what they might do because you're in your Huddersfield gear. They look at you and they go, wonder what team that is.
Shut up.
Wonder what team she supports.
I wore my team colours. Anyway, look, I mean, I think it was brilliant to see, and I think it's such a success. Like the Man United game, this is a friendly.
Yep.
60,000 people, just about 55, I think it was, that turned up, maybe 5,000 packed because of the weather. 55,000 people nonetheless for a friendly.
Yeah, it was
between
great.
Villa and Man United. I think that's fantastic, especially considering Ronaldo didn't come. I think we should make these friendlies count for something now, because that's the only thing that was missing. Great atmosphere, fantastic crowds. Well, come on, we need to have an Aussie Cup or something, or like
an Aussie
Golden
Cup.
Quokka.
Oh my God!
Golden Quokka for winning.
Just saying Australian words. No, I'm sorry.
What do we know?
I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to stuff like this. Like,
there's no such thing as a friendly, though.
No,
what even is a friendly? Like, pointless.
But the Premier League's 38 games a year. They all take place home and away, and you do the same with cup games. It's drawn out of a hat, and you play home or away. I'm not in for we're playing one game in Qatar and one game in Australia, and it's just nonsense. Like, it shouldn't happen. We're not the NFL. It's not American sports.
I like to see him here, though. I like to see more of this.
But the reality is that they came over and they still got 60,000 people, and it was still a good standard. So it doesn't really matter if it's a friendly or not.
Yeah, it wasn't rubbish. I must
Exactly.
admit, it was still, I mean, a higher standard than what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, and
we
went to a special Q&A with Stephen Gerrard before the games.
Nice little name drop there.
No, I'm
just Steve,
but there's a point to this.
Did you meet him?
No. I know you
I
did because you're less professional than me and you went and got a selfie with him. But
best thing is I didn't even get a selfie.
All right.
I got a selfie for someone else.
But anyway, sorry, my point was that it was interesting hearing him say that when he went to the MCG and hearing everybody sing You'll Never Walk Alone when he went with Liverpool in front of whatever it was, 80,000, 90,000 people, he said was one of the highlights of his career. So it goes to prove that them coming over here it's a novelty, but it's still big enough that it encourages all those people to go and the standard's still good. So I think it's fine.
I tell you what, though, it was a painful trip home on that train because sitting there in our Huddersfield gear, me and my husband, and on that train home, all you could hear was Leeds United fans singing Marching On Together and all the rest of it. I tell you what, it felt like sleeping with the enemy sitting on that train.
But given that you went to a game between Leeds and Crystal Palace, you probably didn't have to wear your Huddersfield top.
I tell you what, you Southerners, you don't make nearly enough noise because all the Leeds fans were drowning them out. I mean, I felt very much outnumbered.
There aren't that many Londoners in Perth, I don't think.
Isn't there?
Not really.
I'm looking at one right now.
Well, I know, yeah.
I think that's about time we wrapped it up because we're waffling now. But thank you for listening if you're still listening and watching. We will see you next week and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you. Bye.